Good morning, y'all. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Frank. It's Tuesday morning. So this video, I wanna speak about the girls, right? About my daughters. Even just bringing this up gets me very emotional. This is something I haven't spoken to anybody about. So they just had a birthday. They just turned 19, right? Um, I haven't spoken to them in almost a year. I sent them birthday messages. I send them all that stuff. I send them messages telling them that I love them, that I miss them. I don't get a response, right? And I get it. When I was growing up, I grew up with a stepfather, and I thought he was the biggest asshole in the world. He never put his hands on me, never treated me like shit, none of that. But I thought he was the biggest asshole because he would ask me to do simple stuff. Like, if you spill something, clean it up. And don't just clean it. Don't just like wipe it down. Clean it the right way. Take pride in what you do. That's the stuff he would tell me, right? When you bring company over, you have your friends over, don't tear up the house, shit like that. When I went to jail and I started being around other grown men, I realized that the things that he was trying to teach me were just things that good men already had in their life. It's just the time that he came around, I was already, uh, 8, 9 years old, so it was hard for me to understand or take it from him, maybe, right? So I understand that the girls, are it's gonna be hard for them to take stuff from me, right? When I speak to them and try to teach them stuff. But it became so. I've raised them since they were, like 7 years old, probably, I would say, maybe even a little younger. And when I tell you, man, listen, these girls ain't parenting very, very easy. Because I never once had to tell them, yo, is your homework done? Did you brush your teeth? Did you take a shot? Never once. Not a single time. They just automatically did that stuff. Automatically. Their school grades, honor roll, National Honor Society, straight A's. They would get upset if they got like a 91, which is a high B. They would get upset about that, right? And for me, it was dope to see that because I was like, man, these girls hold themselves to a high standard, right? It was awesome to see because I said, you know what? Their future is going to be very bright because of that. They didn't even start dating until late, you know, before they had their first boyfriends. And I remember the specific day they got dressed up, both of them very beautiful. They got dressed up to go to homecoming. And they both had on these beautiful black dresses, right? And I remember we were taking pictures and I remember seeing them and thinking to myself, oh man, if the boys, because they were athletes, so they dressed in sweats and, comfortable clothes. So I said, man, if the boys don't know, they're going to know now when they see them today. And I knew very soon after that, boyfriend time was going to come. So the only thing I ever asked them, I said, look, you don't have to get my approval on who you date because I trust you, right? Because I trust your judgment. So I know you're not going to let just anybody into your circle, into your life. I know that, because of the way that they held themselves, right? So that made very easy when it came time to me thinking about them having a boyfriend, in the sense that, okay, I know they're not just going to be talking to whoever. But it was very hard also in the other sense, because these are my oldest daughters, right? And I have Maritza and Mercy, but these were the first ones that I was going to have to deal with that with, right? So I told him, I said, look, you don't need my approval because I trust your judgment, right? The only thing I ask you is please let me know when you guys do have a boyfriend, if it's somebody you're going to want to spend time with, go to the movies, just please let me know. And you tell me, don't have your sister tell me, your mother tell me, don't have your brother, just you tell me, please, because this is it's very difficult for me, because I know no matter what, I know that boy is going to end up breaking their heart one day, right? Because that's just the way it goes. How many people out there married their first boyfriend? Not a lot. So that's the sense that I looked at it in, right? So one of my daughters, Brooke, she told me first, and she said, there's a boy that I like, and she did it slick, because I was sleeping on the couch, and she came and did it real quick. So she did it slick, but at least she did it, right? Then when it came for Bryn to tell me, she didn't tell me. She just asked me one day and said, hey, do you mind if I go to the movies? And I said, yeah, who you going with? You know? And she said, a friend. But the way she said it, something was off, right? And they don't lie. I never have to worry about them lying to me, Uh, so I said, well, who you going with? She said, a friend. I said, what do you mean a friend? I said, who? And I said, is it a boy? And she said, yeah. I said, oh, you know, um, and then I said, is it just you two, and whatever. And I said, damn, but why didn't you tell me? And I said, you didn't have to, because I'm sure y'all been talking about this all week. I said, why didn't you tell me? And she sort of got defensive and was like, well, I don't understand why I have to get your approval. And I said, no, it's not. I hope you don't think that it's you getting my approval, because it's not. Because in that case, I would say, okay, I want to meet him. I want to talk to him. Maybe I need to talk to his parents. I'm very old fashioned in that sense. So I said, that's not it. I said, you are my heart walking around on two legs, right? So I just need to understand and know who my heart is going to be with. Because I know if you come home crying because something bad happened, I know what I'm going to do, right? I'm not going to care that this is a teenager. All that shit is out the window. You hurt my baby, now I have to hurt you. That's the way I'm going to look at it, right? So she just didn't understand that. And then she said, well, my mom said I could go. And I was like, huh? So I called her mom. I said, do you know she was going with a boy? She said, yeah, I did. So I was like, hold up. Why didn't you say something to me? And I forgot what it was. She turned it into, oh, why do they need your approval? And I was like, it's not my approval. I'm not asking to meet the kid. I just said, please let me know so I'm not like shocked, right? So then I told her, I said, well, no, you can't go. In this case, I asked you one thing, and since you couldn't do that, this makes me feel like, maybe, maybe, maybe you don't think like he's the type of person maybe somebody should meet. So I said, no, you can't. And man, did that turn into a mess, right? She literally walked out of the house. Her aunt from her father's side picked her up. She walked out of the house and left and, you know, went on the date. So after it was all said and done, later on that day, I was more hurt than I was like feelings of disobedience or anything like that. I was more hurt because I was like, damn, I didn't ask her. I didn't say I had to approve of anybody. I just asked you to please let me know because I knew there was going to be a time where that young man would break your heart. It's just the way it goes. I knew that. And then when Rachel came home, I spoke to her about it, and it was like this whole thing was flipped over, flipped around on me like I was the bad person. And I asked other people, I asked a couple friends, I asked family members, and I said, man, can you please give me some insight on this? Because I need to understand, am I asking too much? Mind you, I'm the same one that, you know, I viewed them as my daughters. I did more for them than I did for my own children. Um, I viewed them as my own daughters. Everything they needed, I made sure they had. The majority of stuff they wanted, I made sure they had. But I also think I overspoiled them, right? That I think I did. But I remember like it was a Friday night and I was so hurt. I was like, damn, why didn't she just tell me? Why didn't she just tell me? And then furthermore, when I spoke to Rachel, and when Rachel said, oh, why does she have to tell you? I was like, man, but it's all right when she needs something, right? It's all right when they need $400 bats for softball. Then I'm all right. Then I'm good enough to ask or to communicate with, right? And I don't only have to buy one, I have to buy two because there's two girls. And God forbid they use the same bat. Um, there's a lot of stuff like that. A lot of stuff like that. And that, amongst other things, which I'll get into, because I'm not perfect, but please believe this. I'm far from perfect. But that was the start of a lot of this, I guess, miscommunication, where I could tell them everything. I could tell them everything, but no. Anytime I said no, it was the end of the world. And I was like, man, you accept my yeses, right? So please accept my no when it comes. It doesn't come often. How much I miss them, right? Like I miss them like crazy. you know, and they graduated from school and they went to prom, right? I wasn't invited to their graduation. I wasn't invited to their prom stuff. But I was good enough to buy, you know, her dress for prom. I was good enough to do that. But I wasn't invited to anything else. And that shit, man, listen to me. And I'll tell that story also, you know, but that shit hurt so bad to know that these girls, I remember taking them to grade school, you know, and going to teacher conference. And when I tell you I did all that stuff with them, I did all that stuff. I did all that stuff. I went to their first day of school, you know, to orientation. I did everything. Sports, everything. I did it all. Because their father wasn't there. And I said, this is my job. Even if you don't look at me as a father, I'm still going to look at you as my daughter, right? I did all that stuff. And then, like, to not be invited to prom, even though you're wearing the dress that I brought you to prom. Not be invited to graduation. Even though I think as a parent, we sort of all chip in, right? To get you, make sure you walk that stage. And I always wondered, right? And still do now, like, do Rachel's family know that I wasn't invited? Or do they just think, oh, he didn't want to come? Right? And even though I guess I shouldn't really care what they think, I do, because I love them and I care about them. So what they think of me matters. You know what I mean? Other people, not so much. Them, a lot. So, all right, y'all. I gotta go into Walmart and buy some cleaning stuff for the shop. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember to be kind, loving, and patient. And if you're watching, I love you. I miss you. And I hope this is easier on you than it is on me. Have a great day. Yeah. Not again.